Doxy?
You've outlined your budget and your goal. I'm wondering how much you've raised to date.
Well, again, it's important to note with the $150,000 from the sale of the President's Home at Ulster County Community College that's dedicated to Ulster County government, that will 100% be dedicated to this project. With the agreement to be able to, by the church communities and the Bruderhof, obviously, to be able to ensure that the roof repairs are done, that will shave $50,000 off the top of this expense. And then with, obviously, with the Syracusanos agreeing to step forward and do this, again, we can't say thank you enough to Bob, to Sawyer Motors, and to the amazing portion that we have done. So that is obviously that additional portion from the check today. We hope that we are able to receive additional donations from the community, and to be quite frank with you, we've been overwhelmed by the number of people who have looked to help. And what we want to be able to do is make sure we provide multiple opportunities for people to be able to participate in this process, and whether it be financially, and that's why the United Way was brought in, and again, we owe them a huge debt of gratitude, or simply service organizations or individuals looking to make sure that a room gets painted. All of this is welcome, because like I said, this is the Veterans Home, this is our community's home, this is a project for all of Ulster County, this really is the Patriots Project for a reason. But
once everything is done, how many veterans would be able to stay in this home?
Steve?
We're going to configure it to fit the need, and we're going to be splitting the mission between short-term and transitional, right? Emergency versus transitional. We think somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 15 beds will very well meet the need in this area.
What's the other number? How many homeless veterans are estimated to be in Ulster County?
Well, again, I think what we've really understood clearly here is determining that number is extremely difficult because of the numbers of individuals who will and will not come forward for services. So it's going to be an outreach program on our part as well. But Steve can speak to that.
Being at this for a relatively short time, I can tell you that a month doesn't go by where 2 to 3 don't present themselves to my office for help. And remember, these are the ones that have gotten to the point where they're ready to reach out. And there's so many that we know are out there that don't. So, and I mentioned in my remarks that wrapping your arms around the number is difficult. But if you had to put a number on it, last year it's been 30 of them. 30 homeless vets who said, I need help.
Addressed to Steve. So then after this is up and running, then it might facilitate the counting of those numbers then. You could come up with some sort of like more of an estimate of numbers, which is what reporters and people like to know.
Well, you can take national statistics and apply them to the population. That's probably not very good because urban versus rural. But just having this facility will allow us to capture more of those vets that are out there that haven't been yet sought assistance. So I think experience will guide us on this one.
Sure.
Does this need any approvals from the state because it is a transitional home, and have those that process began?
The nice part about it is at this point now we're exactly where we need to be. We'll move through anything that we have to do on the local level with the city and the county, working collaboratively on those issues. But there's no additional need for licensing on our part.
So just city and county.
Correct.
Does this need planning approval from the city, or what approvals does it need from the city?
Again, I'll leave that to the planning departments in the city and the city of Kingston to work through with the county, but we're very confident that we'll move through whatever issues exist.
What was this house before?
It was a group home for UARC. But it has a long and rich history, actually. And when you're in the porch, I encourage you to take a look at it. It's absolutely breathtaking. Santa Claus is coming.
There's no association with the VA, right?
No.
And is it the intent that services will be offered here?
I think it's
Yes.
important to be able to highlight this. This is designed to be a central location, meaning transitional housing for individuals in need, where services can be provided to them rather than them having to find a way to traverse the bureaucracy individual services will be brought and coordinated for them right here.
Would that be both city and county services, or just county level?
It really is more of a county level service on this issue, though transportation, obviously, and things like public transportation through busing is a wonderful portion of the city's contribution to this project.
Mike,
Please.
are there any area where people can come from, or can anyone in New York State, or do they have to be counties?
It's a great question. This is designed for Ulster County residents.
How else?
Okay, that's what's very important that we highlight. This is designed for Ulster County residents. If we wrap our arms around this and it becomes truly a model for other communities, we'll help them replicate it in other communities as well to make sure that we can maximize service access for anybody.
As far as ongoing funding, you get this at the end of the year, but then have it open by next year.
Sure.
As far as, you know, maintaining it, all those funds, where would that come from?
It's actually a great question. Many of these services are already provided, okay, and paid for in the county's general operation. But having a veteran be able to move through the process is much more complicated. And so what we are doing here, by centralizing it, is simply making it easier to access those services.
Do you have any idea what the annual cost to operate the facility?
To maintain it, the
Yeah.
basic maintenance expenses here. You know, again, it's on a facility that's comparable to this in square footage, you're probably talking about a $20,000 a year, $25,000 a year basic maintenance operation.
And is it your expectation that that will just become part of the county's general budget?
I believe we have an obligation to serve those who have served our country. And so we will make whatever sacrifices are necessary to make sure that our veterans are cared for.
In the county's
Correct.
budget?
Good. Getting down to the nitty-gritty, if a veteran is homeless, that they technically don't have a residence, so what does it mean when you say Ulster County, does that mean Ulster County homeless, or?
And Steve works through the determination of residency and those types of issues associated.
The Veterans Advisory Committee, how many people are on that committee?
Well, again, we're not going to limit it in size. It's really going to be done in a collaborative effort with the veterans community to make sure, and again, it's very important to me that we do these things right, with the level of honor and respect that we talk about, with the level of sensitivity that's necessary to make sure we get it right. And so that's very important to me, and that's why we're forming that council.
And the advisory committee, will they be just maintaining this facility?
No. Again,
Okay.
they'll work with county executive's office on any and all veterans-related issues.
Do you currently have an advisory committee of any?
County executive's office does not.
Okay.
You know, I also think it's really important that we highlight, remember I spoke earlier about caring for the facility and the commitment in the veterans community? I don't want to make any oversight here, because the individual who literally did this and continues to amaze me as I pulled up, I saw there was a seating area next to a flag carved into the very front corner of this building now. Because of him, I'd like to ask Harold Rosencrantz to say a few words as well. Harold? Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're welcome. Well, I don't even know what to say, but, you know, but it's a veterans home. It's beautiful. When I heard about it, I come over here and started working immediately, before the county even owned it. It's like when I was younger, I had my wagon, my push mower, and my tools, and going over to Dr. Lefevre's house and doing his yard. I said, wow, that's a long time ago. You know, I got 5 years in the service. I had 5 years in the service, so they didn't give me what I wanted, so I got out. I was in the Berlin crisis. I was also Vietnam era, but I didn't go to Vietnam. My brother did, and he died of Agent Orange. He lived in Tennessee, but he fought and fought and fought, like I'm doing. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing it for our veterans. This is why I'm doing here. That's why I'm here. I clean up the yard. I trim. I put the bench out. I put the flag up. And when I got here this morning, they had flags hanging. I said, oh God, I'm gonna put it up anyhow. It's got an eagle on it. And that's our motive. Definitely. And when I first started, to cut. I didn't cut it. The guy next door was cutting. And I walked over, and he introduced me to myself to him. And he says, "A veterans home." He says, "I heard, but what's it gonna be like?" I said, "Like you and me, people, person. We don't know what they're gonna be like when they get home. I didn't know what I was gonna be like when I got home, or when Steve got home, or any veteran that got home. We don't know. Of course, it's different today. It's not like it used to be. It never will be. But it is different. It's harder. It's more technology, which we didn't have. And we did everything by hand, right, or something like that. But today, it's a lot different. You know, like now, I see some of the work being done inside. Usually I don't get inside. I usually stay outside. And then I had to call Steve to see if the electric was on, because I had to trim the hedges. He said, "Try it." So I tried it. I plugged it in. It didn't work. I said, "Oh." I hit the switch. I had power. Well, so, but no water. Didn't have any water. As far as I know, there was no water on it. So I couldn't do anything like that. But to me, this is an honor to stand up and just help everybody and be here for our veterans. And if I can work with Steve every day and do that, I'd be happy. But I got other projects. I just can't be looking at other projects. So I got 22 years in the Legion, and I'm a life member. I'm a life member of the VFW of 686 High Falls. I belonged to the Color Guard in 1386, so I had to drop out. I had too much on my plate. I went up in the ranks in the Legion. My last rank was Vice Commander of the Department of New York for the state. And now I'm just a Legionnaire just like everybody else, and a veteran. But I'll never forget, I thank Bob for what he did. I knew Bob a long time, when he worked at Sears in the automotive. Right, Bob?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and I tell you, it was, growing up was pretty simple, pretty easy for us. But today, we got to be there for them. And if we don't, shame on us. We have to be. Because you're our veterans. Every time I went to a meeting in a Legion or a county meeting, I always said, the older folks, we have to learn from you. If we don't learn from you, we don't know nothing. Because they have the technology and the answers that we don't have. We have to learn from them, from you guys. Because you are much older than we are. We're older guys that have been in 50, 60 years in the Legion, or World War I, World War II, Vietnam, and all that. We have to learn. They have to teach us the ropes. It's the only way we can learn what's going on in the veterans and stuff like that. Am I right, Steve? Definitely. So, I'm happy I'm here. I'm happy everybody else is here, and I'll keep on doing what I can. If I'm 120 years old, I'll still do it. Thank you.
Please.
One other thing, I'm John Henson from Post 176.
Hi, John.
Veteran from town of Gardner, and I just wanted to say thank you for the message you sent out to involve us veterans.
Thank you.
For the advisory committee, and I really look forward to being a part of this. I thank you for the message you sent.
I genuinely appreciate it. And when you hear veterans speak, you can't help but be moved. I've always said we live in the greatest nation on the face of this earth, and it's never lost on me exactly why. It's because of them. And so this, in any small part we can possibly do to repay the debt we owe them, we not only must do, we have an obligation to do, and it is a privilege to do it. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me, and to each and every one of the veterans, thank you so much for your service.